Yeah.
Let's continue here on Radio Boss. We're joined by a group, as a matter of fact. The name of the group is not War and Treaty, it's The War and Treaty. I think that is absolutely significant. A husband and wife duo, as a matter of fact, Michael and Tanya Trotter. And the new album, Lover's Game, is available now as they join us here on Radio Boss. The War and Treaty, Michael and Tanya, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us here on Radio Boss.
So amped up.
Yes, we're excited.
I am too, because I saw you guys on maybe Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, or the performance you had on New Year's, in essence. And I was like, man, they are great. You guys were full of energy. It was just a great performance. What did it mean to be a part of that? I mean, you got a lot going on that we're going to talk about today, but what did it mean to be a part of that?
Thank you so much for that compliment. It meant so much to be able to be just a part of that incredible lineup and to be a part of Nashville, the scene that's happening here in Nashville, Tennessee. So we're very honored and humbled by that, and very excited for what's happening with Nashville and with the country music.
And that was Big Bash. It was the country music's New Year's Bash.
Okay.
On CBS. Big Bash, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Now Michael, my understanding is you broke your leg recently. What's going on here? I mean, I know you guys are high energy on stage, but what's happening here? Oh gosh, look at this.
Man, this is it's probably going to be the most rock and roll story of the year.
Okay.
So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame reached out to us and explained to us that they're doing an inaugural Rock the Ryman in Nashville at the Ryman Auditorium, the historical Ryman Auditorium. And it's where they honor Rock and Roll Hall of Famers who are like staples at the Country Music Hall of Fame, at the Ryman stage, rather. So we chose to honor the genius Ray Charles, naturally, and the other genius, Joan Jett. And so we did take these chains. Don't take these chains from my heart. So we did that.
Yeah.
Fine. Nothing goes wrong. We start standing up to do the rock and roll song of Joan Jett's I Hate Myself for Loving You. We
got through the whole song.
We're killing it, man. I'm feeling really good. I'm like, oh, man, like, yo, we doing it.
Yeah.
And I get into it, and at the very last part of the song, and I step back and break my fibula, bro. And I fall down, and I hit my head on the piano.
Oh my God.
I was out for like 40 seconds. And
it was scary.
When I woke up, I was on a stretcher. I was like,
yeah,
yo, what happened? And they showed me the video, and my first thought was, that's freaking rock and roll, baby.
Yeah.
I'm a rock star.
The first thought, not am I okay? What happened to me? He's like, he's in the stretcher like, Mama.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, that's crazy. That is crazy. So now are you both from Washington? Are you both Morgan folks?
No, I'm originally from Washington, D.C. and raised in Maryland, but Michael is from Cleveland.
From
Ohio.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, by the way. And they all were there. Shouting out Cleveland. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
No, it's all good to shout out Cleveland, Michael. Unfortunately for you, you're not from Washington. It's okay. You know, it's fine. Cleveland's cool. We love Cleveland, right? We love Cleveland. It's cool, you know. But anyway, no, it's great. I mean, I must say, as a Commanders fan, right? I don't know if you're a Browns fan, Michael. I don't know if you're a Browns fan, but basically the Browns sort of crushed the Commanders year this year with the win late in the season. Are you a Browns fan by chance?
Man, listen, I'm okay. You ready for this? So this will lift your spirits a little bit. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. Because the Baltimore Ravens that we now have are the former Cleveland Browns.
True. That is true. Yes.
So when they left, I didn't think we were ever going to get the team again. I left with them. I went straight to Baltimore.
Okay. So you weren't mad about the move from Cleveland to the old Browns?
No. I was, I understood, and Baltimore is such an amazing city. And it's filled with promise. It's got so much ethnicity, so much culture. I know everybody gives all of that to DC, but Baltimore is so dope, man. I mean, it's a lot from North Ave all the way to Liberty, all the way to Edmiston. Baltimore is just it, so.
No, Baltimore's dope. I mean, but Tanya and I went to Morgan State, right? So I mean, no, Baltimore is dope. It's not Washington, but it's dope.
Fighting words.
Uh-oh.
I lived in both. I mean, so in the 90s I left Cleveland, and we actually moved to Washington D.C. I actually lived in a development called the House of Roof Homeless Shelter for battered women and children.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that in 95, 96, and then I went to Shaw Junior High, was in the marching band and everything, and then from there moved to DuPont Circle, and then moved to Eli Street in Southeast. So I listen, DC is like in my blood.
It is.
Mumble song, go. I mean, like DC's Uncle Ben's,
Yeah.
And my life changing experience came from Washington D.C. when I met my beautiful wife. So
no doubt. The War and Treaty joining us here on Radio Boss. Lover's Game is the new album. It is in stores now. How did you all come up with the name? That is like the dopest. In addition to that was the thing. Like in addition to watching your New Year's performance, when they said your name was The War and Treaty, I'm like, that's dope. How did you all come up with that name?
We were arguing, and this was like the 9th time that we were going to change our name, and I told Michael, I was like, no, we're not going to change the name again. This is it. People we have to stick with it, and so we're going back and forth. And I was like, listen, this is not a war. We have to come to a treaty in this situation. And that's how we got our name. And then as our marriage went on, I came to know that Michael had served 2 tours in Iraq. So, it just made sense for that to be our name. And it also, I believe, it's the balance of life. I mean, there's always, with every war, there has to be some peace on the other side, there has to be a treaty to it. So we thought it was a great name, and we stuck with it.
Well, if it's going to end.
Yeah, if it's going to end. It could be a cycle, but no one wants to go on that cycle.
It's a natural pull of life, baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, that's an absolutely dope name. So, Michael, speaking of service, speak to that. How do you, as you mentioned, as Tanya mentioned, the tours in Iraq, but I mean, I guess singing was always in your blood, but talk about your military experience, and then from that to now, the War and Treaty.
Singing has always been in my blood. I mean, from a young kid, when I was 3 years old, all the way to 96, I won the DC Future Fest singer competition, put on by Mayor Marion Barry at the time. So I got the bug then, and then when I joined the military, as a means to calm me down and to get me adjusted to the war life, my commander at the time, he would tell me that the palace that we had took over had a piano in it down in the basement. And whenever he needed me to calm down, he would say, Michael, go down the basement and find home. And so I go down there and one finger it, and teach myself how to play and try to write songs. But it wasn't until that captain was killed to where I wrote my first full-length song. And I asked my leadership if I could do it at his funeral, that we would create funerals out in the war zone because we would be able to come home and bury him and that kind of thing. And when I did, it brought so much resolution and healing to our guys, to where my colonel decided that I would be serving them best doing that, writing songs about the fallen and performing them at these funerals. And so I did that from 2005 all the way to 2007. That's how I got into songwriting. That's how I got into music. It was through the military. So shout out to General Peter L. Jones and all of 1/6th Infantry, 2nd Brigade, 1st Armored Division. Shout out to all my battle buddies.
Man, that's awesome. And thank you for your service to our country, no doubt. Absolutely.
Thank you.
The War and Treaty. joining us here on the program. So now, Tanya, when were you at Morgan?
Oh my goodness. I went to Morgan. I was coming up. My brother went to Morgan State University.
Okay.
And I was still in the 9th grade when they recruited me to come to Morgan State University. The Ruth Shelton, Barbara Dodd, and the great late Dr. Carter, Nathan Carter, who came to my school and they heard me sing. And I went to Morgan. I would say I was still in high school. So I was up there 87 through 92, 91, something like that. So I was there. You know, I made it all the way until my junior year, was sophomore year. And then I went on to do music professionally.
Oh, wow. What was your, and you graduate, what was your degree in?
I did not graduate, but
Okay.
I studied with, in music and psychology. I was a double major.
Okay. And so the music just kind of took off, I guess, while you were at Morgan.
Yeah, it just kind of took off and I went with it, you know, kicking and screaming. My mom and everybody I was working with and my dad, they were like, well, you're going to have to figure out a way to get your degree and do music just in case it doesn't work out. And I told them, I said, I don't have a B plan. It has to work out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Because you were doing a lot of other things. What, Sister Act 2, you were signed with Bad Boy. You did a couple of albums.
Yeah.
You did quite a bit.
Yeah, I did. And, you know, it was a great time. And it really, at that time, really showed me the kind of artist that I wanted to be and the kind of music that I wanted to do, you know, which was infused, taking all the sounds that I grew up loving. You know, my dad was from North Carolina. My mother was from Panama. So, and I grew up in a Black Baptist church in Washington, D.C. So I knew that there were just different styles of music that I wanted to incorporate into what I was already doing, which was R&B at the time. And there wasn't space for that kind of music, you know, for you to just take everything and throw it in one big pot. And so when we found the genre, it found us actually, Americana, and we kind of they embraced us and took us in. We went with it because it was what we wanted to do. We packed up our little turtle top van in Washington, in Maryland, and we left and got on the road and did coffee shop tours, and we were homeless. We did the whole grind, you know, of rebuilding and doing the music and getting with the fans and, you know, gathering new fans along the way. So it was a long journey, but, you know, I believe that everything that I'd done in the past was a great lesson learned. And it was an opportunity for me to look back and say, okay, that was done, and to keep my eyes on what's forward, the future.
No doubt. And where in Washington did you grow up?
I grew up on Eli Place. Okay. And then I lived in Hillcrest Heights, Maryland.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good. No, very good. So how did you all meet?
We met in Laurel, Maryland at a festival. It was called the Love Festival, which sounds very cheesy, but that's where we met. And I would do back to school, giving away backpacks and stuff like that, school supplies to kids. And Michael was one of the performers at that particular festival, and he killed it. And I had to know who he was. And so I met him, and we have just been, you know, joined at the hip, you know, since we met as friends, and then we shortly got married afterwards, and
then we had a baby.
And we didn't start singing together for 3 years while we were married. So it wasn't we didn't get married to sing together. We got married because we were in love, are in love. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. You killed it, Michael. You killed it, man. Man, so, you know, what's really cool, like I was listening to a little bit before this conversation, I was listening to Hi Ho, like that song is dope. Again, the performance you all had on New Year's was great. So it's not, you know, it's interesting, like I was saying to you before we actually came on, not a lot of brothers and sisters in country music, which is fine. I like country, but you guys are you're more than just country music though.
Yeah, we're music. And our experiences is music. Everything is just music. And we're just honored to be embraced by several communities. And it's just a good time to be a creator, let alone be a creator in music, you know, and to be a part of a narrative where country music is trying to move things forward. And it's understanding that not only does African Americans have a place in country music, our place is right at the beginning where it was created, you know, whether it's from the instruments that they love so much, like the banjo, The banjo is an African instrument that traveled all the way over here to this country to influence parties and to influence certain social status norms. And whether it or maybe it's the fiddle, it's the violin played in a certain Western style. So or whether it's the harmonica, starting with the late great Deford Bailey, which is a Black man who played that harmonica, and he played it very well. So just be a part of the narrative that says, hey, before we move further, we want to make sure that our contributions are duly noted and our contributions are seen as the originators of a genre, much like jazz, much like gospel, R&B, and soul. So goes country music. And Tanya and I are proud to be a part of that.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. You have, Jimmy Allen has been on this program before, who's also, that's interesting. It in of itself, brothers and sisters that are in country, but then two that are HBCU folks. I think that's amazing. Jimmy Allen as a Delaware State guy, Mickey Guyton. So it's a lot of I can't, it was a Chad, not Chad, but Brown, last name, Brown is first. Yes.
Brown.
Yes, Kane's name was escaping me. So just a lot of color happening in country music currently.
And that's a lot of that's in the mainstream of country music. But it's so amazing because when you think of like the Carolina Chocolate Drops, HBCU, like Rhiannon Giddens,
yes,
and Dom Flemings, who are still on the circuit educating and teaching, and Layla McCullough. And, when you think of all that and all that our education system has to offer, is so beautiful and so unique to see people are still trying to preserve what we often overlook, or what we tend to let go purposely or let slip through the cracks. And so, and then also beyond the music, like when Jimmy Allen first learned of us, he reached out to us in our inbox and said, can we do dinner tonight?
Yeah.
And we went out to eat together, and we talked and laughed, and it wasn't like we were meeting for the first time. It felt like we had known each other forever. And same with a young fella in the country music business called Breland, and then fellow Baltimorean Brittany Spencer. It's all beautiful, and Talia and I, again, we're just happy to be embraced. Today we received our first country music nomination ever in Country Music TV for a group duo video of the year. Yep. Super amped up about that.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
That is big time. A couple of more thoughts. You're signing, I guess, was it late last year you're signing to UMG Nashville, or whenever it was? I mean, what did that major label signing, what did that mean to you?
Yes, we did sign to UMG Nashville. And right off the break, when we signed with them, they went in really, really aggressively and made sure we had a record done, and all the things, just lining up things the right way. And it is very exciting for us because we have a team now. A lot of the stuff, as I mentioned before, we were in our turtle top van doing everything kind of guerrilla style, building our fan base. But now we have, and we still have to build our fan base, but now we have stronger arms, and we have a larger team, and we have more people to give our vision to, that they can run with the vision and help us manifest the dream that we've had, from Maryland to Michigan. So it's really wonderful to be able to have, as Michael says, creatives around, not just in music aspect of our career, the marketing department, the radio team, the head of the label, our management team, everyone who's coming to the table with their own creative ideas to help us manifest this.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. So Lover's Game, tell us about it. What can we expect from it?
Love, honesty, integrity in the music, but vocals all day. We want to sing, we love to sing, and we're happy to present a product that captures what you can see live on record. Tanya and I, we were challenged to just give it all, lay it all out on the line, and we feel very honored to be able to have channeled what we have naturally, but also to channel the strengths of Ray Charles, the strengths of Al Green, the strengths and the beauty and the elegance of Aretha Franklin and Tina Turner at times. Just giving our nod to those creators that look like us, and then also those that have formed us, like a duo like Kenny Rogers and Dottie West. They were so integral in us really creating this sound. Ashford and Simpson, the Civil Wars, Peaches and Herb, Rick James and Tina Marie, like whatever it is. Our intention, Ike and Tina Turner, Johnny Cash and June Carter, our intention is to fall in line with those great duos. And this is our first offering to that cause. So, really amped up and can't wait for everyone to hear the album Lover's Game.
Yeah. And then last two thoughts, sports thoughts. So, Michael, I ask you first, especially with,
let's go.
I mean, Lamar and the Ravens. What are your thoughts, man? Like they gave him the non-exclusive franchise tag, which to me, I'm okay with that, because now the market will dictate his worth, and then the Ravens can come back and say, yeah, well, we'll pay you or we won't, and they get 2 first-round picks. Your thoughts on the whole Lamar Jackson deal?
I think that the Ravens already know his worth. I think that they're playing a strange game. In my opinion, I think that Lamar is worth it. Keep him healthy and giving him the proper line around him. And listen, Lamar is extremely exciting, especially as not just a quarterback, but to add to the history, the short history of great Black quarterbacks in the game. We just saw a historical moment where the 2 headliners were African-American quarterbacks, and they put on. You saw a relentlessness happening with Mahomes. I mean, whether he was injured or not, he kept trucking on. You saw the future. You saw the young fella take the Philadelphia Eagles to a place they haven't been in a minute. Yeah. And I believe that Lamar Jackson still has not had his moment in that light yet. And I believe he can. I believe he's just as good as those guys. I mean, he's got a cannon on him. He can run. And I think that, I think we see that scenario happen if Lamar leaves Baltimore Ravens. I think he's going to make us pay.
Hey, he can come down the road. He can come right down the road, 45 minutes down the road to Washington, as far as I'm concerned.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. That would be interesting. That would be interesting because, the Commanders, man, I think that, that whole quarter, we've always had solid American teams in DC and now Baltimore, even stretching back to the Baltimore Colts days. And in Washington, DC, we've always been a team to watch. Even when we were losing, I think that the fan base just would not give up on the Skins, now the Commanders. And I really would love to see that franchise just get a fair crack at it and get some right moves in the front office and really make some things happen. So, hey, they got money. So, we put a tag on my man. I mean, hey, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I believe they're one of the suitors, to your point, got some money. And we'll see. Now, Tanya, are you in fact a Commanders fan?
I used to be. I'm not. Okay. I don't follow football anymore. Okay. I retired after the Baltimore Ravens went to the Super Bowl. I stopped one.
Which one? About 10, 11 years ago? That one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. It's on the Ray era.
The Ray era.
Well, look, this has been a pleasure. The War and Treaty, the album Lover's Game, in stores now. Check it out. And of course, they've been nominated for CMT Music Awards Duo of the Year, The War and Treaty. Michael and Tanya Trotter joining us here on Radio Boss. Listen, this has been an absolute blast. We appreciate the time. Continued success in all you do.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you at our DC show when we come there.